So, because we've been developing and we've been working on our next version, we've been working on the core, we're like, you guys are going to want to get some of this stuff that's in the core as fast as possible, right? So what we've done is, next slide, please, sir. 4R8 is happening first. So what we're doing for you is giving you actually some of the features that would have been in ZBrush 5 now, because we're just very excited about the things that have added, the multiple language, the gyro, and we're like, we need to just give you guys both things now so you can get going and get excited and get rolling with this. So we're going to give you the 4R8, which again is already having some of that ZBrush 5. I know everyone's looking for the ZBrush 5 number, but guys, we were developing 2 pieces of software and putting a summit together. So Mr. Drust, what do you have next for us? So obviously we have that multiple language, which is going to be in 4R8, so you will have that in now the full version, which is a really big thing, obviously for those countries that are starting to use ZBrush and been using ZBrush over the years. We have that multiple language support now. Go ahead for the next slide, sir. But wait, is that all? No, that is not all. Nope. Drust, I think they might want to see R8. What's that next slide? I gotta go by what the slides say. I gotta go by the slides. I'm a robot. Go. Oh.
You gotta read this one exactly how it's stated right
Hold on, Johnny! Exclamation mark, I saw it. Let's take a, well, I don't know why it's bold, and very quick look at ZBrush 4R8. Oh, sorry, it's excellent. A quick look at ZBrush 4R8. So make sure you hit 8. So we're going to launch 4R8 for you now. We're going to show you some of this new stuff that you're going to have besides that 3D gyro, which I think you just turn that on and we're done for the night.
I'm just going to leave it there.
And then the multiple languages. There's much more that we're going to share and show with you today. So Mr. Joseph Drust here is launching our version right now that we're having in 4R8.
Wait for it.
Excuse me.
Wait for it.
Sorry, apologize. So here you go, 4R8. So I'm going to hand this over now to Mr. Drust to take over from here and show you some of the new stuff.
Oh man, right on the spot. Right
no pressure. There's a big light on your face right now, by the way.
There is. I don't know if I like this. All right. So as we talked about with the previous slide, we have multi-languages. So I just want to run through that quick and show you guys how easy it is to change the languages here. Do I have languages on this one? No. And now I have to find it.
It's at the very bottom.
It's been a rough week.
It's not in there. It's not in there.
I lied.
It's not in there. It's not in there.
We have it, though.
It's there.
It's a single-click option to change your languages. You also have the ability to create your own custom languages. So if you have a language, you can modify it. So you can take one of the existing languages, modify it. You can also create your own language from scratch.
I have my own language sometimes.
Yes.
For former students, Lisa needs braces. Look up here! If anybody can name that movie, it's to get attention.
Attention, attention. All right, so inside of 4R8, we have also started to improve our brush system a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys some of the features that we've added for this system. So one effect here that we've added that's pretty interesting is this option. Well, if I get my pen tablet back here. Who didn't calibrate this? Is we have the ability to modify an alpha on the fly as you're drawing it out. And this is through a process called Magnify. So I'm going to open this brush palette here, and I'm going to open up the alpha and texture tablet here. And we've added this Magnify sliders here. So we have a low Magnify and a high Magnify. So with the standard brush selected, I'm going to come over here and just change this to a drag rectangle. Make sure I have Z add on. And I'm just going to drag this out on my sphere here. Because I want to explain to you guys first what this functionality is doing inside of ZBrush here. So if I drag this out, this is your normal effect you're going to get from this. So it's taking the alpha we have, it's applying as a direct rectangle onto the surface of my model. So now let's go to this brush palette again and go back to that alpha texture there. And I'm going to change this low magnify here to say something like 2. And I'm going to change the high to 2 as well. And then I'm going to come back to my model, and I'm going to do that same process, but as I drag it out this time, you're going to see it's magnifying the center of your stroke here. Now, what this allows you to do, it's going to allow you to create even more complex brushes. So if you start sculpting on something, this is also going to be controlled by your pressure sensitivity. So if I change my stroke back to, say, freehand, I still have this alpha selected here. I'm going to go to the brush menu again. I'm going to change my low magnify back to 1, and I'm going to bump the high magnify up to, say, 3. So now if I come across the surface here and drag this out, you're going to see it's going to start modifying that stroke there based on my pen pressure, and it's going to increase and decrease that magnify. So this process here has been amazing for creating different creatures, skins, and effects. And it's taking a whole nother level of taking any alphas you've already been using and adding another layer of complexity to that alpha to give you very interesting and unique results. So really handy little thing here that I've been having quite a bit of fun playing with and just fooling around, figuring out what alphas look like when they're magnified.
You should send that to Square Enix. They might hire you.
They may. So not only have we just done things like that, so that was a thing, but
It's
you
just
know,
a warm-up, people.
It's just a warm-up. It's just a
warm-up.
So talking about these alphas and stuff we've modified, I'm going to come up here to the texture tab at the top here.
I think touch is on.
I think touch is on. I'm going to blame touch.
There you go. There you go. It's off.
No more touching me, Paul.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to go to the texture tab up here. And I'm going to go to the little import option here, and I'm going to navigate to the desktop here, and I'm going to look for a file. Is this what you named that file?
Yes, VDM, yes.
VDM?
VDM.
VDM?
VDM. What does that mean?
VDM?
VDM.
And I'm going to load that in. So this comes in this crazy color.
Looks like a green dot.
Green dot. And I'm going to do this option here that's called to mesh. Whoa. It took that green dot and turned it into this.
So what do you think that is? Vector displacement map.
So not only do you have the ability to import in vector displacement maps, you can also take these maps and convert them to vector displacement meshes. So now I'm going to go over here to the brush palette over here, and I'm just going to open this up, and you may see some new brushes at the top here. And these are labeled chisel brushes. So I'm going to come through, I'm going to grab this chisel 3D brush here, and with this brush selected, I'm going to go up to the brush palette over here, and I'm going to go from mesh, and click that. And this is going to take my vector displacement mesh here and convert it to a new 3D alpha. So
3D alpha, people. Really?
So
really, it's actually a 3D mesh that's on your brush now, is really what
Correct.
it is. It's like taking insert meshes brushes
Correct.
to a whole nother level.
But you saw this thing.
Yep.
There's some undercuts there.
There's some undercuts.
So let's go back to my sphere here, and I'm gonna turn on radial symmetry. It's always a crowd pleaser.
Who doesn't want radial symmetry?
So we're gonna go here and turn that on, and let me make sure I can do this correctly here. No practice, no practice.
You'll be fine.
So I'm gonna take this map now. I'm just gonna drag this out, and we can now apply that.
Really, the gyro gets more than that? Shut it down, shut it down.
Shut
Not
it down,
feeling
we're
it,
done.
not feeling
we're
it.
done, that's all you got.
Tear just ran down into the microphone. I'm getting shocked.
So you saw me create this vector displacement mesh from a vector displacement map. I'm going to have trouble saying that forever.
Yes.
It's going to make recording so much fun.
It's going to be awesome. You're going to do like
So
12.
we've added another option. We can create these vector displacement meshes as well. So if we go to Tool Palette with the Polymesh 3D selected, I can navigate down here to the Initialize tab. Come on, pen. Come on, pen.
Do you want the tablet?
We may be going to tablet here. We've added more initialized options here. So we have an option now for what we call a QGrid. And this is going to generate a new type of mesh inside of ZBrush here. So I'm just going to turn off SMT and just divide this up a little bit here. And now I'm going to come and select my move brush. And I'm going to make a little beak for my octopus. So I'm going to just turn on symmetry, start pulling this out, start pulling some sort of crazy undercut out as well. And
Keys here, the undercut, right? Being able to have this undercut capability.
We're going to make some crazy beak here. And so this is just me just using the move brush on this plane here, maybe a little smoothing, all sorts of things like that. Perfect. Now, after we have this done, we've added some new deformation options as well. So when you're sculpting on this plane here to generate these vector displacement meshes, you may hit the border, make it a little bit weird. So we have an option now in the deformation panel that's going to allow you to first relax the plane grid. So if we start getting tessellation in the areas here, we can relax that, and it's going to take those areas of geometry around the edges there and push it up into the sculpt, allowing you to define more detail into the beak here. We've also applied this morph to grid option here, which is going to allow you to keep this thing pretty square. So if I come in and just quickly mask out my edges here, and then invert this, and then apply this morph to grid, it's going to morph the square, or this QGrid here that I've divided up, to make sure it is a perfect square. This is going to help you get really high fidelity results out of your meshes here. So now that I have this, I'm going to go and navigate over here back to that Chisel 3D brush. And I'm going to go back to the brush palette up here, and I'm going to do from mesh again. And now you'll see that the Chisel 3D brush has been added to this. So if I press M on my keyboard here,
what?
You'll see that I now have all these in here, along with all these different vector displacement meshes that were created inside of ZBrush. So it's appending now to your brush system. So let's go back to my squid here, and now I can just simply drag this out. We're going to get out of radial symmetry for this one. I'm just going to come across here and drag that beak out in the correct direction without symmetry.
The key thing here I want you guys to understand, and what he just did there, is now you have the capability for your brush to literally keep adding now those 3D version meshes. That's a lot like the insert mesh brush, but this is completely different than that.
All right, so see what I got here.
2 alpha.
Yes.
2 alpha.
All right, so I'm going to take another file in here, and I'm just going to load in some stuff here. So I have some different brushes here. So let's load these guys in. And hopefully this is the right file.
I don't know. I didn't make your folder.
You should have made my folder. Oh, not the right file. Sorry, guys.
So you took the idea of this. So Drust, when we were developing this, thought, hey, you know what? As a sculptor, coming from a traditional world into ZBrush, like a lot of our user base has, what are a lot of tools that our traditional sculptor would use? And now that we have this 3D capability to add to your brush, he's like, I'm going to go ahead and make some chisels based upon actual sculpting brushes that exist in real life.
So these are all just generated right here inside of ZBrush, so a lot of ZModeler. After we have these done, I just want to, make a brush out of this now. So normal IMM process, right? But let's throw in a little extra here. So I'm going to go back to the brush palette over here, and I'm going to come down here to this Create menu. And in here, you may notice we have some options here. We have an option for multi-alpha brush. So I'm going to come through, and I'm just going to change out this chisel brush quick, and I'm going to select this other chisel brush that doesn't have drag rectangle, but just has freehand applied. Make sure I have my tool here inside of ZBrush. I'm going to go to the brush palette, go to the Create menu, and I'm just simply going to click Create Multi-Alpha Brush. It's going to come through and do that same process you're used to with insert mesh brushes, but now it's going to turn them into these alpha brushes. So now if I come back here, I now have this brush, and if I press M on my keyboard here, you'll see I have all these now stored in there. So now I'm just going to come across...
Wait, there was a clap. Let him have the one clap.
The one clap. The one clap. So let's go in here, and I'm just going to adjust my embed depth here and go back to my little squid here.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And let me change my focal shift down too. Some little tweaks. So now you can see we can start carving with these chisel brushes. And it's going to take the options we made and carve them into a surface. So we've shown 2 options here now for brushes. Well, there's oftentimes you guys may run into, hey, I want that part of this brush in another brush, right? So let's go back to this brush menu here. I have this one selected, back to that create menu, and I'm just going to copy this one option here. I'm just going to copy that guy. Now let's go back to my 3D chisel brush here, go back to the brush palette, and hey, let's just paste that in there.
Paste it.
Let's press M again, and you'll see now I have the chisel brush in that brush.
That will work for IMM brushes as well.
So now you have the ability to modify your brushes. You can copy, you can replace a whole brush, you can add new to the brush, all sorts of different options with the brush system now. So it's going to allow you to create a master brush and just have everything you want all the time.
The master Drust brush.
The Drust brush.
Just came up with that now.
Check my
So what
notes
if you
here.
want to change your alpha positioning?
Well, hold on, Paul.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. All right, so we've got these alphas here. I'm going to go back just to this chisel one here. I have that one selected. Well, let's say I have this alpha. I made it. But, hey, maybe I want to modify it a little bit. So in the Alpha tab, we have this Transform 3D button now. So if I click that, we're going to get a brand new window. And you're going to see we've got the alpha of our brush here, but wait, there's more. What if I rotate this? Now I've just taken this brush that I've made, and I've modified the alpha on the fly. So now I can hit OK on this, and now if I come across my model in Sculpt, I'm going to get a different effect. Now wait.
There's more.
There's more. So maybe it's all 3D. That's great. You know, yeah. I've been turning 3D meshes into alphas for a while.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's come over here and let's select Mr. Alpha 58 here.
It's a good one.
Just your standard 2D alpha that's inside a ZBrush. Hey, Paul, what happens if I click this button?
I think you should probably show them, though. They probably want to see this.
Oh, it's just showing the
It
alpha.
looks good.
It's just showing the alpha.
All right. Oh, it turns the alpha into a mesh now, too.
So now, not only can you take 3D meshes and turn them into alphas on the fly and modify them, you can take any additional 2D alphas you have and turn them into 3D on the fly. So if you have an alpha you like, and now you can sculpt with this on your mesh and get even crazier results.
That's fun.
It is fun. All right, so let's see what else I got here. All right, so we saw, octopus here. It's going to need some eyes.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. I'd like you to know that Paul made the legs.
Thanks for that.
I can't take credit for those.
I'll have it up on my page tonight. You guys can go see it.
So we got that Sphere 3D loaded in. Let's say I want to move this now.
Okay.
What am I going to do?
I don't know.
Oh, Gizmo. So this is also in here, but wait.
There's more.
There's more. So you guys all like Gizmo. We like Gizmo. But I've never seen this before in anything else.
No, I haven't. I am not. But
I like craziness. I like experimenting.
he
I
does
doing
like
different
craziness.
things.
You're gonna find out why.
So
You should just dock that so they can see
I
them.
should, but I don't know if I want to dock it. Okay,
Just
we'll dock it.
You'll be fine.
We'll make it bigger too, so you can see it.
All right.
So we have an option panel inside of preferences that controls our gizmo here some. We can change the gizmo size, but the thing that I really like.
I love that the simplest things get them really excited.
It does.
You can change the size. Woo!
And so,
Forget that you can turn an alpha into the woo!
and so let's say you have a gizmo and you don't like a certain aspect of it, right? I mean,
I love my.
I want to change some things. Maybe I want to do something different. Maybe I don't like how it scales in the center.
Yes.
Right? Well, inside 4 or 8, you can make your own custom gizmos.
Boom.
So here are some crazy ones.
This is Joseph Drust craziness right here. What are you doing? Explain it. Go.
These all function the same way. Scale, scale. I want to see this used a lot.
It's Joseph's Pandora's box.
And so you're not just limited to things like that. So, more experimentation. So I've got these crazy arrow here. I can move, I can scale. I got my other stuff. I got my rotation. So by editing a ZBrush CTL file that's already set up, you can come through and modify the gizmos to make craziness.
Make your own, man. Don't complain.
You don't like one gizmo? Well, make
Making
your
it
own.
Chad.
So, really cool.
That's pretty cool. It is
there.
pretty cool.
It is. I've been having a lot of fun.
Until you give me the ones you're creating, and then I'm like, I don't have any idea what's going on.
I don't understand what this does. I'm like, Paul, just use it. Look how easy this is, Paul.
You know, the good thing, you guys notice on the bottom, even telling you
what the function is doing.
what the functions will do. Yep. So that's pretty good handy dandy right there. Huh?
So, Paul, I think that's it. Really? You got that? That's not enough?
Is there more?
I can't remember.
Yes, there is.
I can't remember.
Yes, there is.
Here,
Do you want me to
I
take
don't
it? He's
know where it
retiring.
is. I
My
don't know where
turn.
it is.
Hold on, I like to have my Cintiq a little flatter than Mr. Drust here, because I find that it hurts my...
I don't like to see people to see me when I sculpt because I make really weird
I want
faces.
eye contact,
Yeah.
okay? It's very important, public speaking. See your people, know your audience. Are they into
you
it or are
did
they not into it?
realize last time we did this, I was wearing a helmet.
Well, that's true. That is very true. A helmet, let me guess, you 3D printed at home for your kid and yourself and your wife and your dog?
Yeah, sorry.
That's exactly what he did. Okay, so I also want to talk a little bit of something else that's out there. So let me load a new sphere here, because I want to start from scratch compared to Drust's wonderfulness here. So
You don't like my octopus?
I personally loved it, but
Just remember, you made the legs.
I did. I did make the legs. So you can definitely do that for me. So I'm going to reset all the brushes, but if you might not have noticed here, there's also reset. Just a single brush that you guys can have as well. So I know that was something some people asked for.
You get more
I know
fun.
them. See, Drust, see, look at them. Simple, simple. They love it. Simple. Don't show them all the crazy stuff. Stay simple.
You told me this is how it's going to happen. I didn't believe
That's why I
you.
let you go first. I want to figure them out, see what's going on. All right, so I'm just doing this because I want to reselect the chisel brush back to its default, okay? So what's really nice about that we have here is you guys are sculpting like this, right? You might have noticed something a little strange there for those that are the experts. Let me do it again and in slow motion. Right? So that's our LazyMouse, but we have added some things to our LazyMouse for you. So one of the big things I think for people is if you've ever used where you're trying to sculpt, say you want to sculpt across something like this, it's now all in the same depth, even when you go symmetrical across. What? So I'll divide up some more. So here, this will get you a little more. There you go. Wow. I knew what features to keep for me. I knew what features. So another thing that you've all wanted to do, and something you want to do, and something that, when we're sculpting, how can I continue that same stroke around the sphere? Well, you can't. I just wanted to bring it up. That you wanted to do it. I'm just kidding, you can now. So now, if you go to your stroke, okay, and you go to your LazyMouse, we have a new slider here, which is our lazy snap. So ZBrush is actually remembering where you left off. So I left off here, right? So I can click. So as I go around, start continuing to move around, and it'll continue on our motion. It looks like I'm touching something.
You're totally doing something wrong.
Yeah, I know I am. That's usually how it goes. Yeah, I don't have to look at this. Forget it.
And that's it.
I told you not to let me have this. Okay, so what we've also added, though, that I want to show is you can actually do something like this. Okay, so when you're drawing it out, okay, you want to be able to move things around. You know, right, I did forget something. I told you to remind me about this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your morph target and store morph target. And as you're drawing it out, okay, I want to continue that, and then there you go.
There you go. I wasn't going to tell you. I just wanted to see what happened.
It's been a long couple months. Sorry, brain fart. Been a couple long months, right? So you're also going to be able to, as you see, as you're drawing out and hold the shift key, you can actually now snap to a degree you want, okay? And then boom, stroke it. I want to show this again because Joseph's having a hard time understanding button keys and pressing things for this feature. So again, you're going to start, okay? Trust, you're going to hold the shift key.
Oh.
And when you don't want it, you just let go of the shift key.
Oh. This is why I had Paul demo it.
All right, so you're going to be able to do things like that. And of course, you're going to be chronic. Yes. So obviously that's making a big difference. And thinking about all the things that Joseph's already shown and now combining that with all your new LazyMouse stuff. So this one I'm super excited about. I think this is a game changer. How many 3D printing people do we have out there right now? Couple, yeah, yeah. I would expect more arms than that, but that's okay. That's all right. Anybody, people that really like hard surfacing yet and doing some good hard surfacing, figuring it out? Okay. It's too sexy. So I want to show you guys a little something here. So excuse me, I like to always start when I am doing, say, something hard surface, like Joseph was showing the initialize. I like to go to initialize myself and change these resolutions down here. So obviously these are controlling how tall you want something or how fat you want something. So I'm changing them all to 1, and I'm just going to grab a cube, okay? I can't have subdivision levels. Hello, that's why we give the warning. Okay, so we're going to have a little cube here, all right?
Little tiny cube.
There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Drust, I figured out what it is. Someone changed the right click to the bottom portion of the button. All right.
I never used right-click navigation.
Hold on, we got to stop. Does anybody know about the right-click navigation out there?
Show of hands. Who uses the other one?
Who uses the Alt-Let-Go? Everyone. He's in the building, but he can cover his ears. I'm having a battle with O'Fair. Okay, there's the O'Fair, as I like to call it now, the Alt-Click. But I prefer, just personally, and by the way, there's 3 types of navigations in ZBrush, just in case you didn't know. But I want to show you the one that I prefer to use, okay, which is your right click. So I'm just going to grab something because it'll be easier
Paul, you're on a tangent
to see that.
Right now.
What?
You're on a tangent right now.
Do you want me to go back to what I was doing?
No, you try to convert people to that right-click navigation.
I'm telling you, I'm going to do it right now. You take that half the audience, I got this side. I have the conch.
I don't know why I ever gave it to you.
So what I'm doing here is I'm using the pen button, which is my right click. I'm hovering over the Cintiq, right? So the beauty of this is I can rotate, but for those that are using the O'Fair, which is nothing wrong with that, it's cool, okay? You can zoom in, but look what I can do now that you can't do with the Alt-Click, is I can move, so I don't have to go to this open space. So this is why I also prefer using this.
What about the borders, Paul?
I don't need the borders. I don't need them because I'm using right click. Yeah, I held for pause there. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm holding the Alt key and the right click to move. I'm holding the Control key and then right click to zoom, okay? And then the beauty part about this, what I like, is wherever your cursor...
Beautiful.
I just wanted to see what happened. Okay, so the beauty part about this is I like that I can zoom into the eye. No, I want to zoom into the ear. So I don't have to, I can zoom into the nose, right? So wherever my cursor is, that's where you're zooming to. and that's where you're also going to rotate around. So that's kind of why I like the right click. It seems to be.
I'm sorry I took you guys in this direction. I'm sorry.
It was your fault, by the way.
It was.
It was your fault. Okay, back to my cube. It's beautiful. All right, so I want to use the ZModeler brush, okay? So I'm going to have symmetry mode on. For those that have never used the ZModel brush, we've shown that so I can pull something out, right, if I want to. I'm just holding the shift key instead here. So you can see I can let go of the shift key, hold the shift key, something like that. Then I can say, hey, I want to add something there, add an edge here. Then I'm going to delete those faces, and then I'm going to bring these faces up. So I have a nice little angle there that I want, okay? So when you're hovering over an edge, okay, I'm going to hold that space bar down, and I'm going to switch to multi-loops instead, and I'm going to add a couple loops here. And I'm also going to tap the Alt key while I'm doing this, and you can see I'm changing polygroups in essence, right? So again, I'm just dragging this and then tapping the Alt key, and then I control how those polygroups are going, okay? So what I want to do is I'm thinking about maybe creating something here that's good for maybe that would go on a rifle or a gun or
a rail.
Or a rail.
A rail.
Is what we're looking to make here. So you're going to see where this is going. Stick with me. Stick with me.
Wait for it.
Okay, so I'm now going to say, hey, you know what? I want a Q mesh, but I want to do it based upon polygroup and flat. So I'm going to pull this down, and then boom, I get all the other ones to go, right? So this is kind of where the power of the ZModeler can come into play.
Now you guys can do this at home tonight with 4R7.
You can do this. Well, everything I'm doing here, you can do at home absolutely tonight. Yes, absolutely. You know, I'm going to change things up here too. I'm going to do a little temporary and show that as well. So you guys know you can do that, right? Hold the Alt key, and then now you can do that temporary, and we can delete what we want to delete again, okay? So let me go back to where I was. All right, that's a good polygroup right there, and we'll pull that down. Okay, so I want to now smooth this. So this is your dynamic subdiv. What I really like to do, though, when I'm working in this mode, is I like to use this creasing. So we can do the crease all, right? And then it's very blocky. It looks like the same exact thing. What I found very useful for when I'm doing any kind of hard surfacing is I like to change this right here, this little slider right there. Yeah, there's a magnifier for you.
It's another magnify. 2 magnifies tonight.
Okay, so I like to make that maybe 2 or 3 or something like that, right? And then in the dynamics, right now it's sitting at 2. So I got this crease level sitting at 2, and my smooth subdiv sitting at 2. So what I want to do is maybe start pulling that up, and you see I start getting a little bit more of rounding of the edges. Okay, so what this little slider crease level is doing is saying how many subdivision levels do we keep the creasing. So I've only told it twice, and then dynamic, I'm subdividing 4 times. So the first 2 subdivision levels, it's going to keep that creasing and that hard, and then the next 2, it'll add that little softening to it, right? So what I want to do now is I'm going to load a brush that I've made here. So let me load one of my brushes right here, and let's call it Master Screw. So I want to use this, right, to maybe draw out, right? So we're at the top of our mesh here. I'm going to say, yeah, let's draw that out. Perfect. Beautiful. Right? So this is going back a little bit to the insert mesh brush days. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split these. So the easiest way for me to do that in the subtools is go into the split menu, right? And then I can just use any one of these 2 bottom buttons. Here, I'll see if I can put it a little bit higher so everyone can see. So you got your split unmasked and split max points. At this point, it doesn't matter which one I use, and I'll split them off. So now I have this subtool and this subtool, right, is what I want to have. So here's the cool part. Get ready for it.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are they ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell ZBrush, make it a Boolean. Nothing happens. That was awesome. Great demo. Okay, what we have done here is you're going to be able to go to rendering now, external render, and turn on a Boolean render operation. So what I can do now is actually push right into the surface and watch it change. Right? So now I can move it where I want, do what I want at any subdivision level, any amount of polygons.
Why aren't you using my box gizmo?
No. It scares me. Right? So all this is updating on the fly for you. Right? What? Yes. Yes, it will. And materials right now, too. So what we can do is even, let's try something a little different here. Like, it really give you guys an idea of what things are doing. I always use my handy-dandy six-sided polygon mesh here. And I actually want to draw it out on the rail that I was making, right? And then I'm going to do the old, again, unmask and split, right? So I got a nice cube here. I'm going to make that negative, right? And so it's sitting on top of right now. So I'm pushing it in, right? So what's great is I can look at it divided, not divided, divided, not divided, divided, and move it where I want to go. I'm making a song. Right? So we are creating now literally a system that you're going to be able to, anything you can think of now, insert mesh brushes, any mesh, no matter what it is. So what I want to do is show you some examples that myself and Mr. Joseph Drust have been working on. So let me show you guys some stuff that we have. I'm going to start with my district gun. Okay, so I kind of was like, when we started making this, I'm like, hey, you know what, I kind of make some kind of District 9 gun. Let's see how that works out. So here's my gun, okay? So this is just still sitting at about 5.8 million polygons. So I want to do an O to the gun, right? But if I turn off my feature, that's really what I'm using to create this whole system. So again, I'm going to turn it back on. That's what I'm getting, right, inside of ZBrush. So we're rendering now the Boolean options right inside, and you can move everything around. So this is a great example. So what's really nice about this is when I'm using, say, something like this gun, I might want to do some changes and do some things that, first of all, save your files.
Save your files.
It's really important.
Oh.
Guys, it's a beta. Calm down. That one hurt.
That one did hurt. It's too sexy.
So, sorry. Whoops, that was my fault again. My fault again. User error. Okay, so might help if I select the gun. Let me load my gun again. Oh, DS tip. So what I want to show too is besides doing something like this, right, and being able to have this control, all right, so again, I'm going to hit 9. All right? You can see right now the selected subtool I have is showing some hash marks. So in here, we have actually an option so you can kind of even see the visual. But what's really great about this is I'm actually using array mesh to do this. So this is an instance. So I can change these on the fly and design-wise figure out what works best for me. Now, I know you won't get excited, but there's the transpose line that can move things around. Right, so these are just some examples that we have. So here's another little chip that we did right here, okay? So what's great is we were like, what else can we do with this? What do you think we can do with this, Drust? I think the important part is here, you're going to want to convert this to get it out. Because right now we're rendering it, and you're in ZBrush world. We know there's other places you're going to want to send this, like a 3D printer for the 6 people that raised their arm. I get it. It's fine. Right? So in here, you're going to have make union mesh. So I'm going to turn on this little DS div. So this is my dynamic. Let's just see how long it takes. You guys have time, right? Well, you're not going to need too much time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, less than 10 seconds. You have the resulting mesh, which is identical. So this is the new mesh. There's your surface. So this was my Boolean rendered version. This is my result version. So Mr. Drust here has done some great ones as well, too, that we want to load.
We've been having a lot of fun playing with this.
We had a ton of fun, I
We're
think.
pretty
playing with this. It's
excited
pretty
that we
good.
get to show you guys this.
Yeah, so this is another piece that he's doing. Again, this is really also showing right now, it's only 19,000 because he's using low polygons, dynamic. He's got 69 subtools, so we can go ahead and 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Boom, less than 10 seconds. Again, we've got a result. So this is his original, this is his new mesh. You know what I'm saying? This one's pretty crazy that Drust put together, which is a car differential. Right?
It's probably not 100% accurate, but we're going to go with it.
It's 100% accurate in your world. There's a bridge there and you've done it. Right? So this is obviously what he did. Beautiful. But this is what he really has. Right? Let's see how long this one takes. You know, go ahead, throw that one up there. Let's see how long that takes making the union and see what we get. Sorry. Done.
That was fast.
That was pretty fast. Right? So we're looking at a system to build and build things. So not just stopping there, we also have this radio that Mr. Drust also built.
You may remember this from a
Past
SIGGRAPH
experience.
long time ago.
Right? So this one's now sitting at like 2 million polygons, right? So we're going to see, let's go ahead and, for giggles, let's make that one. So 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You can count with me, people, it's fine. Boom, done. So again, under 10 seconds. So this is the Boolean, this is his resulting mesh. I don't even need the chair. Thank God no one's sitting here in the spit zone.
That's right.
Okay, so we want to go back to our little slides here, okay? Because there's more information we'd like to give you about this. All right, we've seen all this in full action, right? So we now have ZBrush 4R8. We now know that you have multiple language support. You now know you have other features, okay, that you're going to have. And now we see we're also now giving you 20% off till Monday, October 3rd on the current version of